Okay, so today we're going to be making our really nice freeform paper bowls. And you can see that they're pretty stiff. That's from the glue we're going to use. So this is what they look like, much like Mr. Chihuly's beautiful glass ones. And you can see they're a little bit different. I'll show you some of the different things we can do to make those. All right, so we're going to put these away for now, and I'll tell you what you need. You need a paper towel about this size. That would be, and it needs to be white, so try to find one that doesn't have a decoration on it. All right, these are the brushes you need. You're going to need a brush eventually. So, paintbrush, you can use one of these foam brushes. You can make a brush, and we're going to real quickly, this was on the website, the classroom, I should say. Classroom, which is a website. All right. So, excuse me. Cut a piece of sponge, and you can use this kind of sponge or cellulose, and then you wrap your rubber bands around it. You notice you could just use a pencil, any kind of stick, chopstick, pencil, what have you, a stick from outside, and there you go. That's a very quick kind of brush. Now, you also, if you really want to, you could just use a sponge. All right, so now we're going to, what else do we need? We're going to need water. Okay, we're going to need a bowl. A bowl. We're going to mix glue and water together. So we need a bowl that you don't really like a lot. These are great. Little Tupperware bowl is great. It can be washed out afterwards, but you probably just want to use it for crafts afterwards. So we need that. We need cups or a plastic container like this. Yogurt, regatta, sour cream. You can use just a cup. If your parents have what we call solo cups, they know what those are, those plastic red cups. You can use that. If you want to use a jar, or you certainly can. This one's nice because it's plastic, but you can certainly use a glass jar. You know, I like to use yogurt containers. So if you have any yogurt containers, this kind of container is really good. All right, so that's what you need. Brushes, bowl, paper towel, and a plastic container. All right, sometimes you need to watch us do our lesson, and then you can figure out what kind of container or whatever you want afterwards. So I'm going to do two kinds here. The first one, so you can see, you need something round to trace that's pretty big on your paper towel. Here's this, or you can just use a paper plate, right? As long as it fits on your paper towel and takes up a lot of the room. So what we're going to do now is you're going to decorate it. Decorate this. We are not going to draw scenes. We're not going to draw flowers or anything on it. We're going to use shapes. That's kind of how they do the glass work. All right, it doesn't have to be the same shape all around. We're really going to do colors. All right, and you need to use your regular markers. So we're going to use our regular markers and put some color on this. You don't have to color the whole thing in. Don't color the whole thing in. All right, but you do want to have some color on it. I could have colored these orange things in if I wanted to. It's really nice to use like the side of your marker. You get that nice big color there. Now I ripped it. Watch, because a lot of the paper towels now have this line down the middle. Just watch that it doesn't rip like I did. And if it does, try to keep it from ripping more. All right, now, here we go. Now, number one, you could take this, okay, and you can put water on it. So that's why I said you could do it with a sponge. It doesn't matter because you're kind of dabbing it. And you know, that's going to make that kind of tie-dye effect. Now, that's why we're using paper towels, because paper towels love water and they will soak it up and make your design kind of runny and like a tie-dye or something. Okay, now, ooh, so that's it. That's my design. Now, this has to dry, okay? So we're going to put this to dry. Let me put that down again. That's a lot of color, too. We're going to put this to dry. I'm going to show you the quicker way to do it, and you can decide what to get. The only difference between this and the other thing I'm going to show you is that this has to dry. Otherwise, it's the same. Okay, let's try that then. And we got another piece of paper towel. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to mention, this is messy. Get a piece of plastic. The best thing probably is your kitchen garbage bag, because it's nice and flat. If you don't have that, you can use a regular bag, but they have a tendency to get kind of, well, smushed up in the drawer. So, number one, plastic garbage bag. If you don't, just get a regular plastic bag. All right, so we're just going to do that again. I'm going to take something and I'm going to trace it. I'm going to decorate it. All right, this has decorations on it, so I thought maybe I'd color them in before I did my own decoration. Okay, trace it and trace it, color it, put a decoration on it. Let me see. Let me see what other. Ooh, I do like this. This is kind of like. All right. Like I said, we don't want any small decorations, just big kind of shapes of color, because that's what you would have on your bowls. Lines, fat lines, circles, certainly. All right, let me put lines here. Ooh, I have that. Doesn't have to be in a design, can go every which way. We don't want to fill the whole thing up with color. We just want to put some color on it. Now, this I feel like this should be down here too. All right, here we go. Now, ta-da. All right, we're going to cut this out. And when the other one dries, you're going to cut that out, right? So cut this out into a circle. You might want to have an adult or somebody older help you draw the circle if you're not a good circle drawer, but it doesn't have to be a real well-drawn circle. Just cut carefully. Always be a little careful when you're doing things like this. You're not used to paper towels. They're not really the same as the paper you cut. So, okay. Simple, simple, simple. All right, now we're going to use our glue mix. And this is what we're going to do. I'm going to show you this in a black bowl. You don't have to use a black bowl. But I thought that the glue would show up and you could see how much glue to put in. So I would coat the bottom with glue. And you could see, you could coat the bottom of this with glue. So let's see it in the black one. All right. Now, if you used a, where is it? Where's our, is this what we used? All right. If you used a paintbrush to to color yours, all right, to mix the colors, you got to get another paintbrush that's clean because we're going to mix some water. All right, so we're going to take this. I just want to show you. Drip, drip, drip. All right. What we want to do is get enough glue there that we can stick our paper towel in. So you really need another clean paintbrush or something like, here's one. All right, here we go. Up, that is not thin enough. See? Not thin. We really want to make this like a soup. Actually, to me, this looks like egg drop soup, if any of you have ever had that. All right? A little bit more. Now, too much water, that's okay. It's just messy. Not enough water, you're going to have to make sure that everything gets the glue on it when you put the paper towel in. So if I were going to err, I would put a little more in and a little less. Okay. That's about right. See? Okay, told you it was going to be messy. Take your paper towel. Now this is dry. The only difference is the other one, you have to let it dry. And you make sure that it goes all the way down and every bit of that gets coated with our glue. Okay, actually I think it could be a little wetter. All right, so a little wetter. Make sure there's enough moisture in there that you end up with a wet paper towel. And then you're going to put it over one of your plastic containers. Fix it the way you want it. If it's a little bit rippy up there, put it back together, guys. It's a paper towel. It shouldn't fall apart. That's what they tell you on the commercials. So there you go. Now, the difference between this one and the other one, as you can see that the decorations didn't get as smeary as the other one. Now, if your bowl is longer than your cup, then it's going to look like that at the bottom, sort of like a flower. You can flare it out like that. Make sure you're drawing it on plastic. All right. Now, if you don't want it like that, put it on something that's a little higher. Just keep it off. Ta-da. All right. Now you have to wait. You have to wait for a day. And this will be dry. And then it'll be stiff. Let me get the other one. Here you go. You can see this one was longer, so it's flared out at the bottom. Make sure it's on plastic. The glue will come after plastic. This, you can put it on here. Ta-da, same thing. All right, something like this. All right, you just let it dry. Tomorrow you come back, it'll look like this. All right, now, every day, you're going to go there for like 4 days. You're going to take a little bit of glue, put it on a plate. Just put a little bit of glue on a plate. Get your, whatever you're using for a paintbrush wet, and you're going to dab it. This is going to make it stronger and stronger. Dab, 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 dab. You're not sliding, guys. Get your paintbrush real wet. Just put glue on a piece of paper or a piece of plastic or something. And every time you put a coat of this on, it's going to make it stronger and stiffer. and less like paper and more like glue. All right. This one has been done like 3 or 4 times. So, all right. After 3 or 4 times, you can even dab some on the inside. And that's it. Okay?